What happens on Earth is sometimes shaped by what happens in space. A battle over real estate on the International Space Station is threatening to destroy an important device being used to fight climate change.
Yeah, senior investigator Stephen Stock discovered a project little known outside the scientific community might be jettisoned and burn up in the atmosphere. And this could impact how we address our climate and crisis. Here's Stephen.
The scientists who designed this instrument that beams lasers from space down to Earth say it's the best tool that currently exists anywhere around the globe for battling climate change.
3, 2, 1, 0. And liftoff.
Launched into space on top of a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket in December 2018, the laser device is called GEDI, short for Global Ecosystem Dynamics Investigation.
Next to my children being born, watching that SpaceX launch go up into space was probably one of the greatest moments of my life.
Dr. Ralph Dabaya is the lead scientist on the project.
You've heard about GEDI a lot now in the class.
He teaches geographical sciences at the University of Maryland. Dabaya and his team spent decades researching and designing GEDI and getting the project approved by NASA.
For the last 20 years, and we've been trying to get this really critical piece of technology up into space.
Using lasers, GEDI orbits the globe every 90 minutes, creating 3D maps of the Earth's forest and providing for the first time accurate counts of the number and size of the trees across the planet.
We get the circumference of it.
Yeah.
And that by itself tells you pretty much how much it weighs, but then you also want to get how tall they are.
Knowing that, says Dr. Dabaya, helps address climate change. For example, over the past 5 years, the U.S. produced an average of nearly 11 trillion pounds of carbon dioxide per year, mostly by burning fossil fuels. A growing mature tree can absorb about 48 pounds of CO2 in a year. And based on the U.S. Forest Service inventory, the trees across the U.S. can absorb about 14% of the nation's CO2 emissions each year. But forest analysts say that number is going down as more trees are lost. Between 2015 and 2018 alone, California lost about 136 million trees to wildfire and blight.
One of the biggest unknowns in the greenhouse gas emissions is how much are plants, trees, forests going to be able to take up in CO2 to get us out of the mess we're in.
Dr. Rebecca Shaw, chief scientist for the World Wildlife Fund, says that's why GEDI needs to stay up in space a little longer to fine-tune 2 permanent satellites that will eventually launch into space within the next year or so. Without that overlap, she says, there will be a big data gap and scientists will lose vital knowledge.
It's critically important for us in meeting our climate targets.
However, NASA plans to pull the plug on GEDI early in 2023 to make room for other payloads that will attach to the space station in the same spot that GEDI now occupies. Agency officials would not speak with us, but in an emailed statement said GEDI had already been extended once and will be replaced by a new experiment.
Priority number 1 for humanity should be solving climate change, protecting the world's ecosystems.
Growing up in Argentina, Diego Saez-Gil saw firsthand the destruction of the Amazon rainforest. When you look at a forest, do you see a possible solution to climate change?
100%. Nature has an incredible ability to heal itself if we allow it.
Saez-Gil started a company called Pachama to encourage investors to spend money on saving forest.
We would present you with a portfolio of forest projects ranging from Alaska to Indonesia and everything in between.
Corporations can offset their pollution by paying to plant trees. Similar programs have failed in the past because some investors exaggerated their efforts and got credit for more trees than they really planted.
That is something that we should not accept anymore. We have real-time data that allows us to verify and monitor remotely.
With GEDI, he says, there's now accurate data on exactly how many trees are in each forest and how big they are, so companies can't fudge the numbers.
This represents really one of the easiest ways that we can manage atmospheric CO2. We can't take refrigerators and cool down the poles so that the ice sheets don't melt, but we all can go into our backyards and plant trees. We can preserve the forests we have.
The GEDI team is asking for 2 more years on this space station. NASA officials tell us they would consider keeping GEDI in orbit if they can find room for it on the ISS. However, we've learned a defense mission, which includes experiments in artificial intelligence and machine learning, is ready to take GEDI's spot in early 2023. I'm Stephen Stock, NBC Bay Area News.
All right, thank you, Stephen. Super fascinating. Now, if you have a story for the investigative unit, you can call 888-996-TIPS, or you can visit our website, nbcberry.com/investigations.